Op goes to Reddit after moving into a new house and finds out the previous owner did him dirty when he discovers multiple feet-long patches of cat piss carpet soaking the floors that were previously hidden. Posted by u/mooseamzn. Hi, my wife, newborn baby, and I just moved into a house that we closed on at the end of May in Portland, Oregon. As we were moving in, we noticed a cat urine smell that we hadn't detected during our prior visits. After we got all the boxes in, I began crawling around and found two 8 to 10 feet long patches of carpet literally soaked in urine. I rented a carpet shampooer, but that didn't work, so I had a carpet cleaner come out. He confirmed the carpet is a goner and that some of the subfloor was rotting/molding. The main issue is the living room and hallway, about 410 square feet of flooring in total. I took tons of pictures. I immediately got a flooring guy out who ripped everything up, and we found that the two long patches of urine-soaked areas had recent patches to the subfloor. The previous owner is a contractor, so it's clear he knew how bad the problem was and tried to poorly fix or hide it while the house was for sale. Additionally, when we moved in, there were 3 air fresheners plugged in, all signs pointing to a problem they knew about. It's going to be about $3,500 all in with the carpet cleaner rental, professional carpet cleaning, repair work, and new flooring. There's a chance we will have to do a flood cut to some of the drywall where urine is on the walls. To me, this 100% qualifies as something they should have declared as a material defect affecting the value of the property. Should I even bother talking to the previous owner, or should I go straight to small claims court? The issue is he moved out of state, and I don't have his new address, so I'm not sure how I can serve him. Can I sue for damages beyond the cost to repair in small claims court? This is a major inconvenience. I'm on my last few days of paternity leave and have spent most of it shampooing carpets, getting bids, etc., instead of actually moving into my house and enjoying time with my wife and new baby. Additionally, had we known about the issue, we would have adjusted or rescinded our offer. I'm not one looking for a handout, but we were duped here. Thanks for any insight you have. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Have you discussed this with your realtor yet? Did you have a home inspection? Op's response. We did an inspection, but the room was full of furniture conveniently blocking most of the problem areas. The inspector did note the air fresheners, but he thought there was moisture in the crawl space and assumed they were hiding a smell there. There was no moisture in the crawl. Spoke to my realtor, and she spoke to the seller's agent. They basically said to sue the other guy because the transaction is done. The seller's agent wanted nothing to do with it. Commenter 2. Of course not, he has his fee, and it's your problem. If the agent knew of the problem or reasonably should have suspected it based on observations, then they are on the hook too, or whoever holds the broker license at that firm. The fact that they are not willing to help out leads me to think they at least suspected something. Also, if you had a home inspection done and they went under the house and did not identify a subfloor issue that's significant, they may also be liable. The inspector may carry insurance for such things, but you should not ignore their culpability here just because you hired them. Talk to a real estate attorney, try to find one with experience in transactions, not just someone who does closing papers or deals with surveys or zoning. Good luck. Op's response. Good advice, thanks. If I do talk to the previous owner before sending a demand letter, I plan to ask if he discussed the issue with his realtor. It was very odd how quickly his realtor wanted nothing to do with it. Who knows? Maybe the realtor told them they needed to fix the issue before selling the house, and that prompted the subfloor patches that only hid the issue. Commenter 3. Dude, who is your realtor? My realtor spotted one air freshener. We unplugged it, closed some windows, waited 30 minutes walking around, then went back inside. Dog pee. Yeah haha. She was like, never trust a place with an air freshener. Op's response. Homeowner was helicoptering around us the entire time, even at the inspection. Sigh. Update 6 weeks later. It's been a while, but I wanted to update my prior post about an undisclosed cat urine problem in the house I just bought. Since the first message, I consulted a lawyer, and as I described it to him, he agreed it's likely a breach of contract, negligence, and misrepresentation. Most likely a home-run small claims case. I also confirmed that the house contract stipulates we should resolve claims that fall within small claims court, under $10,000, in small claims court, so that's where I should be handling this. The reason so much time has passed since the first post is that I was trying to discreetly get the seller's new address through a relatively unknown post office method, which didn't work. I also tried simply sending the demand letter to my house address to them, with the expectation it would be forwarded. It was forwarded but was never delivered, according to USPS tracking. I sent it via priority mail with signature confirmation. After a few weeks of waiting for the address or for the forwarded letter to be delivered, I hired a process server in the state they moved to in order to get their address. I got it almost instantly and resent the letter, which was delivered on the 17th. Today, I got a text message from the seller saying they received the letter, that they would be emailing me their response, and they made sure to include that they did not fail to disclose and did not hide anything. I debated not responding, but I replied, saying that I am expecting a check for the full amount requested by the 22nd, the date I gave in the letter, or I would be filing the small claims lawsuit the day after the due date. The seller was typing something, as seen by the magic 3 dots on my iPhone, but after about 30 seconds, they stopped. I'm currently awaiting the email they said they would be sending me, simply out of curiosity, and I have a draft completed on my county's website to submit the small claims lawsuit on the morning of the 23rd. Second update 3 months later. This is a bit long. Hop on for a ride if you like. I submitted this post a few months ago about how I moved into a new house and the previous owner did a remarkable job hiding a very bad cat urine issue. A quick summary of the original situation. Moved into a new house on July 1st. Immediately noticed a funky smell while moving in that I hadn't noticed before. Crawled around on the floor in the large living room and noticed several large 8 to 10 foot long patches of horrendous cat urine odor. Gently touching it with my hand transferred the smell to my hand. Previous owners also conveniently left 3 air fresheners plugged into outlets in that room. They left none in any other room in the house. Rented a Home Depot shampooer, didn't help at all. This was at 6 a.m. the day after we moved in because the smell was so bad. Hired a pro the next day, 2 days after move-in. He pulled up the carpet to find black mold and said, based on his professional opinion, there was nothing he could do. Carpet and subfloor were a total loss. I had him shampoo it anyway because he said it would mask the smell temporarily. Hired a flooring guy to replace it all. After ripping up the carpet, we saw large patches on the subfloor and carpet padding in the smelliest spots. Clearly, they knew and tried to repair the problem at some point. I consulted a lawyer, and he agreed that it sounded bad enough that the previous owners should have declared it on the disclosures. They didn't. I sent the previous owners a demand letter asking for full payment to cover the cost of all the work. They responded by email and basically said, we sold the house as is, the carpet was old, our cat died years ago, we like air fresheners and weren't trying to hide anything, and that the previous patches to the subfloor were done about 7 years ago due to pet urine. I should add that the subfloor was damaged so badly by cat urine they had to patch it, but they left the carpet that the urine had to pass through to do that damage. So, I sued them in small claims court. With my initial post and a follow-up post, which I think I deleted, I got a mixed bag of some support and some people pointing out that I should have noticed the issue. If it were so bad, why didn't I smell it before, or why wasn't it discovered during the inspection? Well, I have a pretty solid theory as to why we didn't notice it. Here's where my brain went, and it proves pretty solidly that the previous owners knew how bad the problem was and did their best to hide it from me while I was buying the house. My wife and I toured their house literally 2 to 3 hours after it was listed on a Thursday. We offered Friday morning and they accepted Monday. We had the inspection done literally the next day, so from the time they listed it to the time we had the inspection done, only 5 days passed. While I can't prove it, I have had carpets professionally shampooed many times in my life, and it gives the carpet a certain look. It was clear they had the carpets shampooed before they listed the house because the carpets had that look. This look is visible in the pictures from the listing. Thinking back to what my carpet shampooer said, he told me the carpet was so bad, he'd only be able to mask the odor for a bit, but that it would come back. Moisture and heat actually crystallize one of the chemical components in cat urine, the one that doesn't come out of carpet and the one that smells, so while the carpet shampooing will mask it for a short period, it may in fact make it worse due to the crystallization from the heat and moisture of the shampooing. The recent carpet shampooing was likely done right before they listed it. That, combined with the 3 air fresheners, did a great job masking the smell. Remember, only 5 to 6 days passed from the time it was listed to the time the inspection was complete. 5 to 6 days of shampoo smell mixed with air fresheners. Okay, I am now expecting some of you to say, well, you can't prove they shampooed the carpets. Your case is weak, and if they deny it, your whole masking theory goes out the window. At this point, I was feeling pretty defeated. It's clear they knew about it and were hiding it, but how could I prove it if they simply denied it? I then began thinking about the mold. Okay, the previous owners told me their cat died years ago, so why was there black mold on the subfloor? By the way, the mold was only located in the most egregiously smelly spots of the subfloor. I have pictures of this. The mold was not everywhere in that room. A light went off in my head. Moisture causes mold. Where did this moisture come from? In their response to my demand letter, they admitted that their cat died years ago and the subfloor patches were done 7 to 10 years ago. The only plausible explanation, they shampooed the absolute F out of the worst spots so severely that it saturated the subfloor in water and caused the black mold to grow. There is literally no other explanation. They had no pets in the house, and the mold only appeared in the spots where the subfloor was patched. This proves they knew how bad the smell was, they knew where it was located, and they spent so much time shampooing it to try to get rid of the problem that the subfloor began to mold and rot. As a summary, I sued them because they failed to disclose this when selling the house. The last question on the disclosures was, "Are there any other material defects that affect the value of the house?" They said no. I have proved they knew about the issue, and I have proved how severe it was. The repair work and replacement of the floor, shampooing, etc., was just under $4,000. $4,000 is a lot of money. This 100% qualifies as a material defect that affected the value of the house. The smell was so bad when we moved in, it could be detected from outside the house. I have a newborn, and it was a health risk to have her on this carpet. Had we known about this issue, we absolutely would have rather A. revised our offer to cover the costs to repair. B. asked for the sellers to repair it properly. C. rescinded our offer. It was that bad. It was not inhabitable, it was so bad. On October 29th, we went to mediation at our county courthouse because my county mandates that you try mediation before you go in front of a judge. I came with about 30 pictures of the damage, receipts, a copy of their response to my demand letter, pictures of the air fresheners only in the one room from the real estate listing, and a statement explaining the situation as I did here. I also had the flooring guy write a letter explaining what he found upon accepting the bid. He's been in that business for 16 years. Not only was he a flooring contractor, he previously spent time working at a restoration company and was certified for mold abatement and removal. In his expert opinion, he said it's the worst pet urine issue he'd ever seen. The letter was notarized. Mediation was pointless. They offered to pay the $160 for carpet cleaning. That's it. I told them I'd settle for $3,000. They said no. I then told them I looked forward to winning when we present everything in front of a judge. They hung up the phone at that point. I just got back from small claims court. After I presented all the info to the judge, the previous owners didn't really have any sort of logical defense. They tried to say that the house sale was as is and that they told me the carpet needed to be replaced due to pet damage. That was, in fact, a complete lie. They never said that. The judge basically said it's clear the damage was severe and what could be proved was that they didn't disclose it, and that when selling a house, you have certain obligations to be honest. He ruled in my favor for the full amount.